to be putting the Arrows RC SKYCRUISER 1400 millimeter together. Now, in your bag, in your large bag, you're going to have multiple bags, and you're going to find 4 of these wing mounts. Okay. Now, this is very, very important, and this you need to see specifically, because if you do, you should be able to screw this up, but if anyone could, I could. So let's make sure, you know, that we have this right. If you notice in these wings, they're coated in their shapes are a certain way. Okay, look at that. Okay, so that tells me that's the wing. The large is going to go this way. See that? It'll fit in there just like that. And then this one will fit just like that. Okay? And then, if you look on the ones that fit the fuse, they have a different structure. Okay? So if you just follow the structure and put them in the way the pieces of the puzzles fit, you can't screw that up. Okay, so just pay attention to the backs of those. But I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to do one of these and to show you what I'm doing. Okay, now I like, because this is structure load bearing, okay, I like using Gorilla Epoxy. Okay, if I can get it to come out. I like using the epoxy. Okay, and all you do, it comes out in 2 parts, and then you just swirl it all together, get a good nice blend. Okay, get about a quarter's worth, maybe $50 worth. Okay, and then I'm going to just take this, and it stinks too. Okay, you're going to dab that onto your strut. Okay, put that on there just like that, and the friction will hold that in place. Okay, and I like using epoxy for something that's this important. Okay, and the reason that this is 5 minutes epoxy, it all 5 minutes epoxy, 10-minute epoxy, 9-day epoxy, it all doesn't matter. The time refers to how long you have to work with it. Okay, they all have incredible amount of holding strength, and all I did was just dab that on there. Okay, and then fit it in the appropriate shape. Kind of got a mess on that one. And epoxy is messy. It is very messy. Okay, I want to do this section. If you put a little acetone there, that will help reuse that. Otherwise, keep it like this straight down. A little cap comes up, and you can reuse this whole bottle. This bottle will run you about $8. But it'll be enough to last you for a long time. Anyway, see, that one's already kind of set up a little bit. And that epoxy will go on there, and it will just adhere and make at a molecular level, and just bond those 2 pieces together. In 5 minutes, I shouldn't be able to pull that apart. And after about an hour, it'll pull the foam out around it before the contact points will let go. So I'm going to let those 4 pieces sit. As you can see, kind of a little overkill on that one, but that's okay. You can take a little paper towel or something and clean that up. I'll clean that before, but I'll let those 4 pieces sit, and then we'll come back and finish this build after that has cured, and I can safely grab those pieces. But it's very, very important that you use a good, strong glue for this step. I use an old shop rag. Okay, clean that up. but that epoxy was not going to go anywhere. All right, that's in there, and we'll come back. There again, like I said, I just epoxied these pieces together, and they'll just get a strong bond, and you can only put those pieces in one way. Just look at the shapes and the mold cutouts on the pieces, and you can't get it wrong. Just look at it first. You use the noodle that the good Lord gave you. All right, y'all have a good one. We'll be right back, and after this cures, we'll continue on with this build. That was the wing, putting the wing struts, hard mounts in. All right, continuing on, while these hard wing mounts are curing for where I put on the hard points for the wing struts, we're going to go ahead and show you how to protect all your control surfaces, okay? Now, this is for long-term protection. Yes, it does have laminate in all the hinges, but I'm going to show you how to do the hold the foam treatment. Now, this is with a product I like to use called Beacon. Think of it as Elmer's glue on steroids. That's just the way I like to think it. It makes a nice, strong, very strong bond that is flexible and malleable. And it's good. It's really good for foam. It's just really, hold the foam. That when they designed this particular glue, and it's white, and it dries clear. Okay, now what you do, take your control surface and flex it to the outermost arc, the furthest most arc. Okay, then you're going to just take just a little dab. Take a little dab of the glue here and come out. Doesn't take much. Okay. See how much I've got in there, kind of smeared in there? Okay. Now I want to just take a piece of wood here. You can use a wood, you can use a popsicle stick, okay? You can use actually a paintbrush, a small hobby paintbrush would be good. Just whatever. And then fold it in. The whole point of the brush or whatever tool you use is just to spread it evenly. And then you're gonna push the foam hinge into the glue. See how it kind of gets stringy in there? All right, you're working that glue into that hinge. Okay, you're working into all the little dents and dings and little imperfections that's already in the foam. And you're working that in there and then making that for a nice, clear layer of protectant. People say, well, lots of times I like to use Blenderm tape. Okay, well, you can use Blenderm tape. That's for think of that as an emergency fix at the field. This is jumping the gun on this. This is trying to prevent that from ever happening where the foam hinge detaches. Okay, just kind of work that in there. See how it looks kind of stringy in there. And don't worry about if you have a little extra. It's no big deal. It is, because all it's going to do is dry clear anyways. Okay, set that off to the side. Okay, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do all the control surface. We're going to bend this down all the way down. We'll run this. There'll be a nice bead in there. This is my elevator. My elevator is the one control surface that I definitely don't want to lose. I definitely want to lose my elevator. Okay, and like I say, the tool is just to evenly spread the product in there. That's the only purpose of this tool. Probably a Q-tip or a hobby brush would be fine, and then just work it in there. Let that work itself in there, and it's going to dry flexible, so you don't have to say, well, isn't that going to seize up your hinge? No, it won't. All it's going to do is it's going to keep the foam hinge flexible like it's supposed to be, and it will just put a nice little layer, extra layer of insurance on there. That's all that's doing. Just give me a little extra peace of mind of knowing that my hinge has got some protection and like a long-term layer of protection on there. I'm just going to work that in there, and like I say, that will, you can see it kind of gooey, but it'll dry clear, so you don't have to worry about what it's doing to the hinge. Okay, I'll go ahead and see. You can even look. I haven't treated this one, and if you look very closely, there's little pockets where even the laminate is starting to give. Okay, well, guess what this is going to do? This is going to go in there and seal that laminate. Okay, and just go ahead and make me a nice layer of protection. Go ahead and do your flap while you're here. Just knock out the hole in it. You know? Okay, work that in there, and that just works a nice layer, very nice layer. See, that's already, see that mount there? That's in there. That epoxy, I mean, that sucker, for that mount I did, oh, it's in there now. Alright, so that takes care of that one. As you can see, this only takes a few minutes, but these are all what I like to call old school techniques for long-term protection. I know you old timers that modify and build and make your own planes from scratch. You're thinking, Sonny, you don't know nothing. Yeah, you're right. But this generation, I'm considered an old fogey in the new generation of pilots. So. All right, work that down there in the hinger. This doesn't have to be perfect, okay? You're just kind of working that in there. Like I say, it dries clear. Okay. All right, that is gonna make my hinge, the hinge of this plane, healthy and happy for many years to come. Now, typically, I don't do the top sides on the aileron and the flap because they're just so big, and there's so much down here on the underside, so I'm not too concerned about it. And like I said, it does have laminate on both sides anyways. All right, now that we've got that done, I'm showing you how to protect. Let's go ahead and turn our attention to working on the fuselage here. Now, we're not necessarily following in order of the book, but in a way, this will be the third time I've put this plane together. And what I mean by that is, like I said, this is the FMS Skytrainer 182. I'm sorry, arrows, but it is. Okay, now, here's another area of, we're filming, right? Okay, this is another area where you need to use an old school technique called dry fitting. You need to make sure you got to think about what you're doing before you permanently attach. Okay, this is your control rod for your elevator. Okay, and it's going to attach on this side. So the bottom of your elevator has this circle looking thing. This is a fill mark, and this structure here. Okay, and then the smooth section, that's smooth all the way across, that's the top. You're going to want to fit it underneath this rod, slide this in here, but take this little wire here and feed it up through that hole there. Or better yet, hold on. Yeah, okay, that's right. You're going to feed this through first. Okay? But let's see if, but what my point was, you want to dry fit things first. Okay, so I'm going to pull that wire, try to get it up through there the best that I can. Dry fit that there. Okay, I want that to dry. I'm going to know, that way I know how that is supposed to fit. Okay, all right, and then this is going to fit in there, and that wire is going to hook to it. Now, so that means what I need to do is go ahead and fit these two pieces. See how they sandwich together? And if you look, there's a little notch right there. Right there. Okay. That's where that notch there would fit. Put that wire through there like that. Okay. And that's going to fit in there one way. So what I like to do, because I'm using foam to foam, make sure that's centered right before I attach these two pieces together. Okay, I'm going to be attaching this to this and paying attention to hooking that wire up and gluing the whole thing together using hot glue. So I don't have all that much time, but I like using hot glue whenever I'm gluing foam structures to foam structures, bare foam to bare foam. That's the perfect time for hot glue. Okay? If I was gluing like a hard plastic piece to foam, then I'm going to use epoxy or another, or medium CA or some really good strong type of glue that I trust. Anytime I'm going to put foam to foam though, okay, like that, I am going to score the surface. Okay, I'm just going to take a little knife and I'm just going to scratch up, because this foam is cooked, okay? And when it's cooked, it makes for a nice sheen. Well, that sheen makes things smooth, and therefore things don't stick as well. Okay? All right. Now, if I was smart, I would go ahead and hook up my control surfaces. But because I'm doing a video, I put on my control arm while I got the pieces separate, but I can show you that on the plane while we're doing the plane there. We'll store them sections together. Pay attention to that trough there where this is going to be pivoting in there. That rod there, that hard piece. I don't want any foam near, or any glue near it. Okay, for obvious reasons. Okay. All right. Now, first things first. Let's take our hot glue. Let's get you closer. Closer. You come closer. Okay. Take our hot glue. We'll begin at our pieces together. Take a look at this again. Okay. How's that going to fit together? How should it look from the bottom when I'm done? Okay. It should look nice and even. Okay. So, I'm going to take, I know it's all going to be a hot glue gun. Okay. Okay. Right from the get-go. Okay. All right. Glue those two pieces together like that. Okay, hold them together. Okay. Remember, you don't have much time with hot glue. Make sure it's all nice and even. You are going to burn your fingers. Deal with it. Okay? Just part of it. Part of the injury of modeling. You want to burn your fingers a little bit. It's not bad. Hold that together. Okay? I like to sing You Are My Sunshine like Bixler does on Flight Test in my head. When I get to the full chorus of You Are My Sunshine, then I know it's done. Okay? Now that piece is together, solid. Let's set that off to the side for just a moment. Keep it close by because we're not going very far. Okay? Okay? And we're going to come here. Remember, we got to, how we fit that in there, we know how that's going to go. Okay. We'll go ahead. I'm going to hook up my light here. It only fits one way, the little UM plug thing or whatever they're called. They plug together. They're going to line up black to black, red to red. Okay, now look at what I've got here. Got this. Okay, I'm going to put glue here, here. I'm going to stay away from this trough. Here and then down that line. Okay. Don't have all that much time. Mess around with it. The glue is going to burn you. Sorry. Part of it. If you use hot glue, that is. Like I am using. Is that wire? It's a burn like hot wax. I mean, it's not like devastating. Okay, if you leave it sit there for too long, yeah, you'll get a blister, but for the most part, it's not bad. Okay. And what you mainly want to make sure that the back here and the front is glued in nice and tight. It's not going anywhere. Okay. And little thing about hot glue is if you get a big glob outside and you just, it's away from the structure one, you can take it, do a little bit of put a little alcohol on a put a little alcohol, and that will make it cold and you can peel it right up. Alcohol is like the kryptonite for hot glue. Now, the nice thing about it is, and lots of times you take the hot glue, if you got little bits of it, you can just kind of run your finger over it, and it'll just roll right up on your fingers. Alright, so that's in there. And that's not interfering. That hinge is fine. Okay. Alright, now we can turn our attention to the landing gear. Okay. You're going to have a separate bag that says, it actually says landing gear on it. Okay. Landing gear. Alright. See, you've got these channels, the way this fits in. Okay. It's only going to fit, well, honestly not that way. Fit this way. Fit that. Okay. See how it's raked forward? Okay. Okay. So we're going to take a 2mm hex head, which I'll just use this one. Okay. Nice and flush. Another one. This is where having a plane stand like this, that's Ernst. This is the Ernst small model plane stand. It's great because it saves your back. It saves you from having to do a lot of stooping. Okay, they go down nice and flush. Remember, it's a 2mm hex drive. Remember, you're going metal into metal, so you can crank it down. But remember, even though you say, well, it's metal into metal, you can crank it down. But that metal's being, that outer structure of metal has been held in plastic, so don't go crazy. Nice and snug. That's all you want, nice and snug. All right, now this is the part where you're going to be looking and they're trying to figure it out. All right. All right. Take a look at our. All right. See, there's a screw there, right? All right. We're going to make our lives, I remember this now about the old one. We're going to make our lives a whole lot easier, okay? We're going to take this cowling off, okay? All you do, you're going to have to take a very sharp knife, run it through this seam here, cut through them graphics. Now, I've already done it. You got a place here, on top, and on the side. And I've already done it, and you can't tell. But guess what? That canopy just comes right off. Okay, and it's held in by magnets anyways, and there's that trough, so we don't have to worry about messing up the our stuff for the steering. But now we can see what we're doing. Okay, so now there's that screw I was talking about. Get that lined up in there. Okay, and that screw is going to screw into, okay, it's going to screw into the part, into the shaft. It's what holds this assembly together. See? All right, let me get you closer, so you can see what I'm doing. Gold Phillips head screwdriver. See that mechanism in there? That's what grabs a hold of and turns this whole tiller back and forth. Well, this has got to sit down into that, and then the screw goes in the front. Okay, so you may have to kind of grab a hold of that and move that around a little bit. See, sit down in there, and then you'll know when it lines up properly, this will get where it won't move, because now it moves with the rudder servo. That's actually going into that shaft now. You'll know you line it up right if it goes all the way in. Yeah, see? See? That whole section's moving. Now I know I did it correctly. Everything's riding on that screw. Okay, now I can just take my structure, my cowl, and put it right back in. Voila! Landing gear is now done. Okay, landing gear is done. Alright, now I'm going to talk to you about putting your control rods on. Control arms to your control surfaces, okay? I'm going to do one because there's multiple of them, and then you can do the rest on your own. Now, I'm not talking about the arm itself. I'm talking about the control rod. I'm talking about the control arm that we're actually going to be screwing it to. Okay? We're going to be putting our arm here. Okay? Open this up. And this is arm that's going to be attached to the control rod. Okay. This is my control rod or arm. There's I've heard so much controversy back and forth. Well, it's a control rod. It's a control arm. Okay, it's the thing that makes the control surface move. How about that? Well, that's the servo. Okay, come on. All right. You see these 4 holes here. You see this plate. This part, the control arm, is going to go towards this. And it sits down in there like that. Okay? And then you've got this back plate, okay, that's going to join up, will sandwich the whole surface together. Now these are things that are done for you at the factory in most models. Not with this one. You're going to have to do this yourself. Okay? And in this particular application, all the screws, I think, are all the same. Nope, nope, nope. You do have some that are longer and some that are shorter. So wherever the foam is the thickest, like towards the center, that's where you're going to put your longer screw. And wherever the foam is thinner, that's where you're going to put the shorter screw. Duh. Okay? So I'm going to put that there. And I'm going to take one of the these are Phillips head screwdrivers, or Phillips head screws. Okay. I'm going to put one through here. Okay. And then I'll put another, and I'll put a shorter one through here. Maybe. Okay, and they're going to take this plate, all right, and the way it works, you're only going to use 2 screws. You'll see these raised sections. This is where the threading is held to hold those 2 screws in. You're only going to use 2 screws per section. So, you see how they're hanging down here? And that one you just saw, I'm going to put it right there. Let that just eat right into that one. And that will hold that in place really well. If you've ever done a Dyna model, this is status quo. This is what you have to do. If I can get that to line up. Now you can, if you want to, put your little bead of glue to hold these in place if you want to. But if the screws are good quality, which these are, you shouldn't have to worry about it. Like I said, this is not one of those just slap it together in 5-minute models. So this you got to work at a little bit. You're going to line these up, okay. But once you get that one screw grabbing, then that plate will hold, okay. Where's my other screw at? That's not going through. Maybe it is. Okay, that's lining up. We want to see, we want to make sure those screws are coming through the top of that plate. And they are. The long one did great. The shorter one, where the foam is thinner, you may have to actually, this is where you get that that habit of getting your finger or putting something behind it to where you're putting this force down to grab that force. Don't let the foam take your force. Let your finger or your hand to take that forced. Okay? Yeah, it's not really grabbing good. Alright, let me back that out. Let me see if I can't use, I bet you I could use the shorter screws on the rudder. They're probably, the rudder's thinner, I bet. Yeah, it's thinner. Okay, let's do the longer screws for this one. And you may even have to use some of your own screws. That happens too sometimes. Now I'm not actually going to, yeah, there you go. Now that went, I think that's going, yep, that's going right through into my finger. Okay. But you'll feel it grab. You know what, I'm looking at what I'm doing here, but I'm not making sure you can see it on camera. I do apologize. That's why I narrate the whole time. That way, if it gets out of view, you still already know what I'm doing. Now, that, if you look, has sandwiched those two pieces together, and you can feel the sharp knobby of the screw side. You can take a little piece of pinchers or something. You can pinch the sharp things off. Okay. Now let's turn our attention to the rudder. Okay, which is on the other side. But here's where I would take, okay, paying attention to how you got where the threads are. Okay, this is where I take a little piece of glue, maybe put that on there. But we're not going to. I said you don't have to, so we're not going to worry about it. I'll just hold my finger. All right. This is not a quick and easy build. This one takes a while. Okay. There's our rudder rod. Okay. We'll set that down in there like that. We're going to take, I got one long screw and one short screw. So I'm going to put the long screw closer in. Okay. Where's my backing plate at? Ahead. Oh goodness. Oh, here. Okay. Here. Alright. I got the backing plate and I want to pay attention to where it's going to gather, where it's going to go into. Alright, so that backing plate, if you look, right up here, and down here, catacornered, or a thicker structure that's actually got threads. You're not using 4, you're using 2 screws. This one here and this one here, there's actually threads in there. So that pays attention to where I put my screws in here. So if I put this backing plate here, okay, the threaded section is going to be up and the other threaded section is going to be down. So I'm going to put it down here through the rod, through the plate here. And forgive my terminology, I start calling everything the same thing. I'm going to shove that through there, down there like that, okay. And I know that plate's going to, or that screw is going to meet up with it. Okay. Okay. All right. And get my screwdriver. That, oh, I missed the hole. Ah, there we go. Yeah. I want this to sandwich together. Okay. All right. Back in the 10, 15 years ago, this is how you did all foam models. They all were this way. Here. Excuse me. All right. This one here is going to go through the thinner part. Okay. Put my finger back on this side to hold it. Okay. And I can feel that screw tip coming through into my finger. Don't let it go into your finger, just I can feel it. Now that way those two plastic pieces have been sandwiched together. Okay? So you're going to do the same process on here. Okay. The thicker part of the foam, you're going to put your longer rod through the thicker, and then your shorter screw through the thinner. Same thing here, same thing here. So we're going to do that off camera. I'll do all 4 wings, and then we'll come back and actually start putting this thing more together. Okay? All right, so that was the mounting the gear, checking the mounts, or the hard point mounts for the wing struts, and mounting the tail feathers and the rudder, elevator, hooking up the lights, and putting in the control rods or the control arms for your elevator and your rudder. Okay, so that's that part. All right, we'll be right back with another section. All right, we're back. All right, I got all the control surfaces all hooked up, okay, or the control arms are all attached on everything now, okay? Now, on your wing, you're going to have the bundle of wires attached with masking tape. Go ahead and pull them apart, okay? Pull that out as straight as you can get it. Do the same thing for the other wing. Pull it out, kind of pull it out as straight as you can get it. And in your kit, you're going to find a Y that says flap, okay? 2 of these wires, one from each wing, is labeled flap, okay? You're going to want to hook these together, okay? You're going to hook this Y together. You always hook, anytime you're hooking servos, the servo leads together, servos together, you're always going to hook, the polarity is light to light, dark to dark. As you can see how that is, the light wires on top, light wires on top here. I'm going to fit that in there. It'll feel kind of click in. And if you look, the light wire is on top. Okay, I'm going to come over here to my other wing. Okay, find the one that says flap. I'm going to do the exact same thing to it. That way these wings are connected now by the flap. I'm going to take my wing spar. Okay, I'm going to put it through one section of the wing. It has a stopping point. I'll take the other wing, letting the side of these control arms stick in. I'll let the other wing spar come through. I'll put this wing up. Okay, let the wires hang down below, or that's the top of the wing. Let that wing fit together. Okay. All right. Now that is one solid wing, right? One, or at least it's held together by the spar. Okay. Now, here's what I like to do with this particular model, and this is something I recommend you doing when you're really ready for this. Take your wing, set it down like this. Okay. Get those 2 pieces together as best you can. Okay. And let's get a piece. Think about this, because I haven't done this in a while. Get a piece of clear packing tape. Clear packing tape. Okay. Join them as tight as I can get them together. Okay. I can always pull this off later. Okay. In fact, I may pull it off later just to make it neater. And now my wing is kind of in one piece, so easier for me to hold. Okay, now I'm going to take all these wires, okay, you got that troughed, looks like a real thin plastic trough, okay. What you're going to want to do, this, a bread tie would be great for this. In this case, I'm going to use a zip tie, provided I can find a simple zip tie. All right, I'm going to take a zip tie, take these wires, and at the junction here, okay, I want these wires together. just to keep them together. Okay. All right. And I'm going to crimp that excess piece of zip tie off. Okay. Now my wires are all kind of together. Okay. You should end up with one that says labeled flaps, two that aren't labeled for anything that have all three, the lead, the positive, the negative, and then three total. They're just red and black. These are all lights. Okay. This all needs, so you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're going to have a total of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. All right. Get all that. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to take a piece of tape. I'll show you what I do here in just a second. Piece of tape just to keep, I could have done that with the top of that tape up there, just to keep all that together. You see that trough there? All right, we'll feed all that through. Not worried about hooking anything up. I'm just getting the wires down that trough so I can secure my wing to the fuse. Not too worried about how it looks right now. I just want it all to fit down in there. Okay. And that wing, tongue and grooves in. Go ahead and move that off there. Okay. You'll see it's got two contact points, two round teeth point. That's going to fit down there like that. And then the whole thing sits down there like that. And then you're going to have two long metal machine screws in your kit. Okay? Yeah, you actually got 3. You get 1 extra. No, I guess you get 4 extra. 2 extra. Yeah, you get 1 extra. Okay? Very long. Okay? That's what's going to fit into here. I think this is a 1.5 or maybe a 2 millimeter. Yeah, 2 millimeter. Okay. Let me put this back on the planing stand. This is where you got to do a little bit of finagling, a little bit of finesse. Okay, you have to kind of work it a little bit. This isn't necessarily going to line up perfectly. You may have to adjust these wings back and forth with their connection points there. Okay, and this is how modeling is. Okay. Okay. If all works perfectly, it lines up perfectly, then it's going to screw right in there. Don't have to worry about anything. Which that one's going in great. Now you can appreciate why I've got that piece of tape. Alright, and hopefully that one will line up. Oh boy. I love it. Okay. I would have preferred more of a saddle per se for that to fit down in there, but it's okay. Again, When you start seeing foam crease in around that hard plastic doubler there, stop screwing. Alright, so that wing is on there as far as the upper connection. Okay, now I can lose that piece of tape if I want to. Okay. I just held it together for my own. Okay, now we're going to turn our attention to these struts. Okay, this is why I want plenty of time for them struts to cure. Okay, you're going to be using 4 of these little short screws, little machine screws, 4 of these little nuts. Okay, okay, and then 2 of these struts. Okay, they're only going to fit one way. Okay. Okay. If you look, the back of the strut has a perfect spot for that nut to fit into. So if I put my finger underneath it, and I put the nut and hold the nut in there, and put the screw, then guess what's going to happen? It's going to hold it in place. So I don't have to have a pair of screwdrivers or pliers back there to hold that nut while I screw in one section. So I'm going to put that nut there. I'm going to fit it on the strut. Okay. Put my screw in. Because that nut is sitting down in there in that pocket, automatically going to tighten itself up. And then looky here. Look at that, look at that. Isn't that beautiful? That's just going to sit right in there just as pretty as you please. I can take that nut, have the other nut ready, the bolt ready to go. Put that nut right back in there, that little piece of that puzzle. Fit in there. Have that bolt ready. Okay. Take the screwdriver. That I can feel it attaching to that nut, and that nut locks in place in that perforated area just for it. Tighten that up. Tighten that up. Okay. All right, I'll go over here. Repeat the same process. Okay. See the flat part where the nut just fits down in there like that. And this little sandwich right in there. Put it right there. Put the screw right there. Okay, I ended up having to use my own locking nut, and I dropped it and I stripped it out. So I had to use my same bolt, but I had to use my own locking nut because I stripped that out. Now remember, cut this off to make attaching your front wheel so much easier. Pay attention to how you put your struts. Do not attach these struts until these wing mounts are nice and solid and secured. Okay, with the epoxy or whatever glue you use. Once these wing bolts are flush and you start to see this plastic around here kind of dent in, stop. You're done. The seam of this wing should line up with the seam of the fuse there. Okay, if you look, if you put your tail and everything together, everything's nice and kind of sort of straight. So it's not super straight, is it? But it'll be all right. Okay. Okay. Oh. Okay, and the other thing you can do is once you get these connections through, you can take a little clipper and these sharp points, you can just clip them off. If they bother you, we'll have to get a stronger clipper, but you can clip them off. Okay? Alright, see if that's going to be fine. Alright. Alright, now the other thing is to put the prop on. Okay? That's the basic build of the plane. Let's stop and change our direction here a little bit, and let's show you how to balance this prop. Okay, give me just a second. I'll get my balancer and materials and we'll show you how to do it. Alright, we're back. I'm now going to show you how to properly balance a prop. Now, you can do this with any plane. I like using the DeBrose prop balancer. That's what it looks like when it's all assembled. Okay, you take your balancer, you take this section here, this is the pivot or the rod, or I don't know what it's called, the balancing rod, to take everything off. Take these two sections here off. Take the prop, put your prop on the two pointed section that centers the prop in there like that. First piece is you put on your spring. Okay. And then your stopper washer, and then your piece of fuel tubing after that. And that just pushes that prop up onto those two cone shape and makes it nice and even. All right, now what we're looking for, another thing, make sure you don't have any air, no breeze or anything going. Okay, all right, now look at here. Okay, let me get you. I like using a medium grit sandpaper for corrections. All right, see how that prop's sitting on there nice and even, right? Okay, it's sitting there. All right, I'm going to take this. This is the lower blade. I'm going to put it on top now. See what happens. All right, that lower blade that was on lower has now found its way back down again. Okay, this prop is actually pretty close to being balanced, because if it was really out of balance, the heaviest blade would drop very quickly, but that's barely dropping. Okay, this is the somewhat heavier blade where my finger is. See how much it pulls it back. Not very fast at all. Okay, so we're not going to have to do much work at all. Okay, what I want to do is I want to be able to set that on there and that just stay still, perfectly still like that, and not favor one prop to another. Actually, that's pretty good right there. Okay, put another one on there. All right there, and see if it favors one. Okay, still favoring this one prop. So, if this was out of balance and this was the heavier, all I would do is take a medium grit of sandpaper and I would just keep sanding off a little bit of material. I mean, what I do is I hold it down on the desk and I would really be sanding it pretty good. And I just keep doing that until they all kind of, like, it would just kind of hold still like that. It doesn't really want to go. See how that's a balanced prop. Now, to mount this prop, where the wording that tells you the size, which is 11 by 6, would be out, this blade would be towards you. Okay, let me put my balancer back again. This is that DeBrose prop balancer. Almost all hobby shops, their online store will sell these if they don't have it in stock in the actual physical store. I'll put a link. If Hobby Zone sells one, I'll put a link to it. If they don't sell one, I'll put a link to it anyways, to where you can buy one. You're going to take this nut. Okay. Now I'm not putting this prop on forever. I'm just putting the prop on temporarily. Okay. You're going to take this back piece. It's keyed, octagon shape. You'll notice that the shaft is octagon shape. So that just tells you how that's going to go in there. Remember, the wording of the prop goes out. Okay. Just like that. You're going to see these little areas. The blade is going to rest on those. Okay. Right. Blade's going to rest on there. You're going to take your nut, put that right back on there. Take a screwdriver. Pay attention to how that goes on there. Okay. And that tells you where you want that blade, where you want that prop to tighten down at. That is how you balance your prop. Now you can, if you want, go ahead and mount your prop, take it to the field, and realize you got a slight vibration. Well, what you do on the field, you get your legs back here to where the prop will, back there, hold the tail. You go forward, you lean forward, and you look down at that spinning prop, like maybe just greater than idle, and you're looking for deviation, okay? And then you can kind of go in there and you'll figure out which blade is heavier and put a little bit of tape on the lighter blades, and then you just kind of put a little bit of clear tape until you don't see that deviation and hear that vibration go out. That's a lot more trial and error, and I don't prefer, I'd rather get it done right the first time here in the shop. So, all right, well, that's the basic build of the Arrows RC SKYCRUISER. FMS 1400 Sky Trainer. Everything's put together. Remember, don't attach the struts until your wing mounts are completely sealed. Don't over tighten these wings. Kind of secure your wires together with zip ties, bread ties. I prefer using tape or zip ties because they're non-metallic. You have enough metal in the wires as it is. Why add to the metal and then have a chance of interfering with your signal? That's why I don't like using bread ties. Okay, I just try to as little metal as possible. So I use tape, zip ties, whatever. Secure them wires together, dip them down in there, and you should be finding that bundle starting to poke its evil face through here or here. And that's the next video. That's the basic build. The centering of the servos will be done with a radio setup because I got to power the servos, and I'll do that by way of receivers and attaching my control rods or to the arms of the control servos was one of my last steps, and then I put the prop on, and then I'll do all the radio setups. Okay. Well, there you go, folks. That's pretty much it. We'll come back with the complete radio setup, the CG, and how to do the vector and all that will be in the next video. All right, this one's been long enough as it is. All right, y'all have a good one. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hobby Zone, thank you for the plane. I'm sorry I didn't get it out in a timely manner. I know you wanted me to have this dog all done by January 3rd or July 3rd, but I was in Arkansas on vacation, so.